There's a reason some people win and others watch. Winning isn't luck. It's not genetics. It's not handed out like a prize at the end of a carnival game. Winning is an art. And like any art, it must be studied, practiced, refined, and above all, believed in. You don't stumble into greatness. You don't accidentally become disciplined. You don't trip and land into destiny. You build it one decision at a time, one day at a time, one yes to purpose and one no to distraction at a time. The people who win in life aren't always the smartest. They're not always the most talented, but they've mastered this. They know how to stay focused when others get distracted. They know how to keep walking when others sit down. They know how to believe when others give up. And today, I want to show you the art of winning, because success isn't just for the chosen, it's for the committed. Most people don't understand that before you ever win in life, you must decide to win. That may sound simple, but it's one of the most profound principles you will ever grasp, because the truth is, many people move through life with a halfway heart. They hope to win, they wish to succeed, but they never decide with full conviction that they are going all the way, no matter what it costs. And as a result, they forfeit their destiny, not because they didn't have the talent, but because they lacked the decision. Deciding to win is a full body, full soul commitment. It's not passive, it's not soft, it's not negotiable. It's a type of decision that says, come hell or high water, I will become everything I was created to be. You don't decide based on your feelings, because feelings change. You don't decide based on your past, because your history does not define your future. You decide based on vision, based on what you know you were born for, even if no one else can see it yet. This kind of decision is powerful because it gives you access to strength you didn't know you had. Once you truly decide, your body follows your mind. Your behavior aligns with your belief, and when resistance comes, and it will come, you don't crumble, you don't retreat, because you already made the choice. It's settled. There is no plan B. There is only forward. Let me show you how real this is. There was a young woman named Amina. She grew up in a village where girls weren't expected to dream big. Everyone told her to settle, be a wife, stay small. But something inside her burned. She wanted to be a doctor, not just for herself, but to help her people, because she'd watched her little brother die from an infection no one could treat. Everyone laughed. Some even got angry. They called her delusional, foolish. But one day she got down on her knees and told God, I don't have the money. I don't have the support, but I decide to believe. I will not live small. I will not bury my gift. That decision changed her life. She started walking miles to read used textbooks. She worked as a cleaner to save for school. She cried. She broke. She felt lonely, but she never wavered. Years later, not only did she become a doctor, she built the first medical clinic in her region. The same people who doubted her were now standing in line for her care, because she decided that's what it takes. A clear, wholly undeniable yes to your future. A decision that doesn't back down when life throws punches. A decision that screams into the night, I will win. Not because it's easy, not because you're perfect, but because you were born with purpose and now you've chosen to walk in it. That's the moment everything changes. When you decide not based on your feelings, but based on your future. Everyone wants to be seen winning, but very few are willing to do the work when no one is watching. The stage is seductive, the applause, the recognition, the validation, it draws people in. But true victory is not built in the spotlight, it's built in the shadows. The moments you grind in silence, the sacrifices no one claps for, the discipline no one notices, that's where greatness is born. The world will only ever see the fruit, but they'll never understand the roots, the nights of prayer, the early mornings of pain, the seasons of invisibility where you kept showing up with no promise, no praise, just purpose. What most people fail to realize is that mastery doesn't happen in noise, it happens in quiet. Champions are formed in the hidden places. When you train when no one is cheering, when you keep practicing the same thing over and over again, even when your progress feels invisible. The spotlight doesn't make you excellent. It only exposes what you've built in the dark. There's a kind of pain that comes with unseen effort. You question yourself, you wonder if it's worth it, you scroll through social media and see others getting recognition while you're still in the wilderness. But don't be fooled, the process is working. Every repetition, every hour spent alone refining your craft, every night you go to sleep with sore hands and an aching heart, it's building something, and what you're building in silence, God will reveal in power. Take the story of Jalen, a young man who dreamed of becoming a concert pianist. But he didn't have a piano. His family was poor. His friends mocked him for having dreams too big for his neighborhood. But Jalen found a broken keyboard in a secondhand shop. Half the keys didn't work, and it was missing a leg. Still, he brought it home, propped it up on a stack of books, and practiced every day. No teacher, no audience, no fanfare, just him, the keys, and a dream that wouldn't die. For 3 years, Jalen practiced in silence. He studied music theory from library books. He played by ear. He rehearsed through tears. And then one day, he entered a small community competition. Nobody knew his name, but when he sat down and his fingers touched the keys, people were stunned. His skill wasn't raw, it was refined. His emotion poured through every note. He didn't play like someone who just wanted to win. He played like someone who lived in the shadows, who bled in the dark to shine in the light. That's the secret. You don't train for applause, you train for excellence. Because when the door finally opens, it's too late to prepare. You either are the thing you said you were becoming, or you're not. And that's why you must fall in love with the process, with the hidden hours, with the lonely grind. That's where champions are born, in the silence, not the spotlight. You don't win by chasing success. You win by becoming the kind of person success is drawn to. This is where most people miss it. They run after titles, chase results, pursue recognition, and get lost in outcomes. But winning isn't something you catch, it's something you attract when your identity aligns with purpose, because who you are determines what you create. The reason some people keep winning isn't because they're lucky, it's because they've become something internally that the external world has no choice but to respond to. You see, many people are trying to change their life without changing themselves. They say, I want to be successful, but they still think small. I want to be disciplined, but they still see themselves as lazy. I want to be wealthy, but they still believe they're not worthy. Your life can't outgrow your identity. Until you believe something different about who you are, you'll keep repeating the same cycles, no matter how hard you try. The shift happens when you stop performing and start transforming. When you look in the mirror and say, I'm not just going to try to win, I am a winner. Even when you're broke, even when you're behind, even when the results don't match your reality yet, because your belief is the seed and your habits are the water. And over time, who you are will shape what you experience. Let me give you a real example. There was a man named Elijah who had grown up in a family of poverty and chaos. He watched his parents struggle, and for years he believed that was all he'd ever know. He was intelligent, but every time opportunity came, he sabotaged it. Not because he wasn't capable, but because deep down, he didn't see himself as someone who deserved more. He carried a poor identity, so he kept producing poor outcomes. Then one night, after losing another job and breaking down in his car, Elijah made a decision. He pulled out a notebook and wrote at the top of the page, "Who do I want to become?" He sat there for hours, cried, prayed, and for the first time, he stopped thinking about what he wanted to do and focused on who he needed to be. That night, he didn't get a job, he didn't get rich, but something inside of him shifted. He decided to become a man of order, a man of vision, a man of discipline. He rewrote his self-image. Over time, everything changed. His speech changed, his posture changed, his habits changed, and eventually, his results changed. Years later, Elijah built a business that served the very community he once lived in, and people asked him how he did it. His answer was simple. I stopped chasing success and started becoming the kind of man success would chase. That's the power of identity. You don't need more motivation. You need a new mindset. Because when you become it internally, The external has no choice but to align. Every champion you admire has one thing in common. They learned how to carry pain without letting pain carry them, because the truth is the path to success is not paved with comfort. It's paved with pressure, disappointment, betrayal, delay, and silence. And if you don't master your emotions will master you. You can be gifted and still be defeated by your feelings. You can be called and still collapse under discouragement. And really, that's why emotional resilience isn't optional. It's the core of winning. Life will test you, not once, not twice, but repeatedly. And the ones who rise are not the ones who avoid pain. They're the ones who transform through it. They let pain purify them, not poison them. They let rejection redirect them, not ruin them. They cry, but they don't quit. They feel everything, but they don't surrender to anything that pulls them away from purpose. That's emotional resilience. Too many people think strength means pretending you're fine. No, it means being honest about what hurts, but not bowing to it. You can acknowledge the ache and still keep moving. You can feel fear and still take the next step. You can feel betrayed and still forgive. That's real power, not in how you appear, but in how you persist. Let me give you a real story. There was a woman named Kira, a brilliant entrepreneur who poured everything she had into launching her own business. It was her dream, her passion, her calling. She invested all her savings, her energy, her heart, but 6 months in, the business failed, the funding fell through. Her family mocked her, her friends disappeared, and the worst part, she started to question if she had misheard her calling. The pain was heavy, the shame unbearable. One night, after receiving an eviction notice, Kira sat in her car and screamed into the night. She told God, "I did everything right. Why did this happen to me?" She was angry, she was tired, but something inside whispered, "This didn't happen to end you, this happened to shape you." The next morning, she woke up with swollen eyes but a steady heart. She didn't have answers, but she still had breath. And that was enough. She got up, she found a small job. She studied what went wrong. She stayed silent when people mocked her. She rebuilt not just her business, but her soul. 2 years later, she launched again, this time wiser, stronger, deeper, and her second business thrived. But not because everything went right, because she didn't give her emotions the final say. That's the key. It's okay to break. Just don't stay broken. It's okay to cry. Just don't make a home in defeat. You have to develop a backbone that says, yes, this hurt me, but it won't stop me. Because purpose is too heavy to be carried by people who let feelings drive their future. If you want to win, master your emotions, or your emotions will master you. The art of winning isn't hidden. It's not a mystery. It's a map. And now you've got the blueprint. But knowledge without action is nothing but spiritual entertainment. So go back to your life and start today. Not next week. Not when it feels perfect. Now. Decide to win. Train in silence. See yourself differently. Obey even when it's hard. Protect your focus. Upgrade your circle. Keep growing. Build legacy, and let your victory glorify God. Because the world doesn't need more noise. It needs more examples of what alignment, discipline, and divine obedience look like in motion. That's the art of winning. Now go live it.